For more than 3 decades, The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson wasn't just late-night entertainment, it was the center of American pop culture. From 1962 to 1992, Carson welcomed presidents, comedians, musicians, and the biggest stars Hollywood had to offer. But among all those guests, there was one category that audiences never forgot: the women whose presence seemed to stop the room. Johnny Carson was known for many things: his timing, his wit, his quiet authority, but he was also famously appreciative of classic beauty. Unlike today's fast-moving celebrity culture, Carson's era celebrated elegance, charisma, and screen presence as much as looks. When he complimented a guest, it mattered. When he lingered on a moment, audiences noticed. Over the years, Carson openly admired certain women on his show, sometimes through playful banter, sometimes with sincere praise, and sometimes with a look that said everything without a word. While he never released an official list, fans, producers, and television historians have long agreed on a group of women who clearly stood out as the most beautiful to ever sit across from him. These were not just women who were physically attractive. They were magnetic, confident, unforgettable, and in Johnny Carson's eyes, they represented the very definition of timeless beauty. First among them were the women who embodied classic Hollywood glamour. They entered the studio like movie stars even when the cameras were already rolling. Their posture, voice, and poise reflected an era when elegance was non-negotiable. Carson often leaned back slightly in his chair when these women appeared, letting the audience enjoy the moment along with him. He joked less, listened more, and allowed the spotlight to linger. Then there were the women whose beauty came with sharp intelligence and wit. Carson admired that combination deeply. A beautiful woman who could spar with him verbally was rare and irresistible. When a guest could return his jokes effortlessly, the chemistry was undeniable. The audience felt it instantly, and the interviews often became legendary reruns. Another group included women whose beauty felt effortless and modern for their time. They didn't rely on heavy glamour or dramatic entrances. Instead, their appeal came from confidence, authenticity, and a sense that they were completely comfortable in their own skin. Carson often responded to these women with genuine curiosity, asking thoughtful questions and giving them room to speak, something not all guests received equally. One of the most telling signs of Carson's admiration was repetition. If a guest returned multiple times over the years, it usually meant one thing: Carson liked them. He didn't bring people back out of obligation. When a woman appeared again and again, it was because she made the show better. Her presence raised the energy in the room. Some women had a beauty that was playful and mischievous. They teased Carson lightly, smiled knowingly at the audience, and understood the rhythm of live television. These interviews often became fan favorites because they felt unscripted and alive. Carson's laughter in these moments was genuine, and viewers could tell. Then there were the women whose beauty was paired with mystery. They spoke softly, revealed little, and carried an aura that made people lean in closer. Carson, who valued privacy himself, seemed especially drawn to this type. He didn't push too hard. He let the mystery exist. And that restraint made the interviews even more memorable. Importantly, Carson's appreciation was rarely crude. While the era itself had different standards, Carson generally expressed admiration with charm rather than aggression. His compliments were often framed as jokes, but the sincerity behind them was clear. When he said a woman was beautiful, it wasn't just flattery, it was recognition. Audience reactions reinforced this. Applause often lasted longer. Camera shots lingered. The studio atmosphere changed. These women commanded attention the moment they appeared, and Carson instinctively adjusted the show around them. That's not something a host does lightly. What's also fascinating is how time has treated these appearances. Decades later, clips of these women still circulate online, still praised for their beauty and presence. Younger viewers, far removed from Carson's era, often comment on how different Hollywood beauty once felt. Less artificial, more human, more about presence than perfection. In many ways, Johnny Carson helped define what beauty meant on television during his reign. It wasn't just about youth. It wasn't just about trends. It was about confidence, grace, and how someone carried themselves under the pressure of live TV. The 8 women most often associated with Carson's admiration came from different backgrounds: film, television, music, and theater. They represented different styles and personalities. But they shared something rare: the ability to command a room without demanding it. Carson himself aged on television. As the years passed, his energy changed, but his taste never really did. He continued to admire the same qualities: intelligence, charm, and authenticity. When a woman possessed those traits alongside physical beauty, the effect was undeniable. Looking back, these moments tell us as much about Johnny Carson as they do about the women themselves. He respected talent. He appreciated confidence. And he understood the power of presence. Beauty, to him, wasn't just seen, it was felt. Today, The Tonight Show exists in a very different world. Interviews are faster, jokes are sharper, and viral moments matter more than subtle chemistry. But during Carson's time, a single look, a well-timed smile, or a quiet moment of admiration could become television history. Those 8 women, though never officially named in a formal list, live on through those moments. Through the pauses, the smiles, the laughter, and the unmistakable way Johnny Carson responded when true beauty walked onto his stage.